The billionaire's wife burned a waitress. She had no idea the woman was an FBI agent investigating. It was the kind of winter morning that made the city shimmer with frost, every street lamp haloed in ice, every breath visible like smoke. Yet inside the glimmering penthouse atop the skyline, tension crackled hotter than any fireplace. Miranda Hawthorne, the billionaire's wife, paced the marble floors with a sharpness in her eyes that could cut steel. She had always been accustomed to controlling every situation, to bending the world to her whims, but today, a trivial encounter at a nearby cafe had ignited something fierce within her. A waitress, a seemingly ordinary woman, had dared make a subtle mistake while serving her coffee. And Miranda, flaring in arrogance, privilege, and rage, had humiliated the woman in a way that left the entire cafe frozen in awkward silence. If you believe in the power of second chances and stories that show the beauty of kindness, hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Touch of Kindness Stories. Trust me, this one will remind you why sometimes the smallest gestures can change lives. The waitress, a tall, composed woman named Tessa Marlowe, had felt the sting of Miranda's words as if they were flames searing her dignity. But unlike anyone in the cafe, she did not crumble. Her eyes, calm and unshakable, revealed nothing of the storm beneath. Most would never know, but Tessa had been on a mission far beyond the polite demands of a coffee shop. An FBI agent working undercover for months, she was investigating a string of financial frauds linked to one of the nation's wealthiest families, Hawthorne Enterprises. She had followed leads across states, tracked offshore accounts, and patiently built a profile that might bring down empires. And here she was, in Miranda's small, careless spotlight, exposed in a way that could have ended her cover. Miranda returned home that afternoon, oblivious to the fact that she had just brushed against someone with the power to unravel everything she and her husband had built. She moved through her opulent halls, draped in silk and confidence, her heels clicking like a metronome of entitlement. Her husband, Victor Hawthorne, sat behind a polished oak desk reviewing financial documents, his sharp mind unbothered by the drama unfolding elsewhere. But Miranda's mind buzzed with the imagined slights of the morning. She prided herself on perfection, and any disruption to that image felt intolerable. Meanwhile, Tessa had gone back to her modest apartment, the winter wind cutting through the city streets, carrying her thoughts along. She replayed the encounter, not with anger but with meticulous attention to detail. Every gesture, every word Miranda had used, could be crucial intel. Tessa understood the stakes better than anyone. One wrong move could blow her cover, derail the investigation, and allow billions to continue slipping through the cracks. But Tessa was trained to handle pressure. She sat by the window, a notebook open, mapping connections between the cafe incident and the Hawthorne family's financial empire. Her calm demeanor masked the adrenaline surging through her veins. 2 days later, an exclusive charity gala brought Tessa and Miranda into the same orbit once more. Tessa had secured a role as an assistant to one of the event organizers, using it to get closer to the Hawthornes without attracting suspicion. The gala sparkled with crystal chandeliers, golden trays of hors d'oeuvres, and the quiet hum of the city's elite. Miranda glided through the crowd, aware of every gaze, every whisper. She had no idea that Tessa, the same woman she had burned in the cafe, was now shadowing her movements, noting patterns, timing, and security routines with the precision of a master detective. As the night progressed, Miranda's usual sense of control began to crack, ever so slightly. Tessa observed her from across the room, studying the subtle signs of vulnerability, the fleeting glance of doubt, the tight grip on her champagne glass, the way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Tessa's training told her that these cracks were opportunities, but she also noticed something unexpected. Behind the arrogance and control, there was a human being shaped by pressures and fears she could almost empathize with. Tessa knew she had to remain focused, but a part of her quietly wondered what would happen if Miranda faced the truth, not as an adversary, but as a person. The pivotal moment came when Miranda, in her usual pursuit of perfection, misjudged a conversation with a young philanthropist at the gala. Her words, intended to charm and influence, fell flat and left a sting of embarrassment. The room buzzed with polite murmurs, but to Miranda, it felt like the walls of her carefully curated world were crumbling. That's when Tessa made her move, not with confrontation, but with subtle, calculated intervention. She approached with a disarming smile and a gentle suggestion that quietly diffused the tension. Miranda, expecting criticism or exposure, was momentarily stunned by Tessa's calm and unassuming presence. Tessa's intervention marked the beginning of an unexpected transformation. She remained undercover, but her presence in Miranda's life became increasingly complex. Miranda, initially dismissive, began to notice the depth of Tessa's intellect, the courage in her calmness, and the quiet power behind her every action. It was the opposite of what Miranda was used to. Authority met with grace, dominance met with competence. Slowly, Miranda started questioning her own behavior, her quickness to anger, and the walls she had built around herself. Outside the walls of the Hawthorne penthouse, Tessa's investigation reached critical points. Evidence accumulated that could topple empires, yet she remained cautious. She discovered irregular transactions linked directly to Victor Hawthorne, hinting at financial schemes that could ruin countless investors if left unchecked. But she also realized that Miranda, in her own flawed way, had been unaware of the darker operations her husband conducted. The contrast between the two women, one deeply complicit, the other unknowingly caught in her spouse's shadow, was striking. The tension reached a crescendo one evening when Miranda invited Tessa to an exclusive dinner, curious about the woman who had quietly and consistently countered her arrogance. Tessa accepted, knowing that every moment now was crucial for both observation and strategy. During the dinner, Miranda spoke openly about her insecurities, the suffocating expectations of wealth, and her fear of being irrelevant in a world that measured her by social status alone. Tessa listened, careful to maintain her cover, but couldn't help feeling a pang of empathy.